Hello everybody, I'm the Charbox Gamer and welcome back to Minecraft. It's been a bit since my last recording. I'm pretty sure this is the next file, so hopefully I got it right. The house hasn't been completed. I mean, that's a good indication that I'm on the right track. It'd be awkward if it wasn't though, it's whatever. You should have seen me trying to figure out which file to use. I was using the last video as reference, and then this just kept on going through them. I was like, oh wait a minute, it's this file. It has to be this file. Hello. Just walk in front of me. Mindless, I swear, they're mindless. Alright, I think we're just gonna finish up the... we might finish up the house in this episode, at least the roof part. I don't know, have I said that before? I think I might have announced that, hey, we're gonna finish the roof, and then the roof did not get finished, so... take that with a grain of salt. Now, normally I have my files, organized with a proper name so I know which one goes where, but it was one of those moments where I was being a little too lazy, and I didn't really change the name out of them. I just figured I'd go in order, but when I realized that I kind of cut some files up, recording-wise, I realized that I made a mistake by doing that. So I had to basically just had to go through everything until I found a good reference point and realized that, hey, this is a correct one. And after I did that, I renamed this one. That kind of reminds me, I probably should name the rest before I forget about it. So, yeah, luckily for us, we only get one recording for this video, so no need to add anything to it. And looking over my last clip note, the last thing I remember discussing was, I believe, horror movies? Movies? Huh. Okay, I mean, I think I said my piece. What was the last horror movie I talked about? I think it was the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I don't know if I said I didn't like the movie or if I just said it was disappointing. I think it was both, maybe. But we've already kind of discussed movies already, so let's go to a different subject, because let's see, what would be a good subject for movies to go to? I guess, shows? Yeah, we could go with shows. It's been a while since I watched anything on TV, really, but I could talk about old shows that I used to watch. A lot of it would probably be cartoons. Old cartoons now. God, I kind of hate saying that, but it's kind of the truth. And I guess a few shows here and there. Shows I was never really into, even when I got into my teenage phase. I kind of like watching what I was used to watching. For example, I think the only way I watched any shows was if there was A, nothing else on, or B, if someone in my family was watching the show and I didn't have control of the remote, so I had to watch what they were watching. So, yeah, in those instances, I would be watching, I don't even know how you describe it, live action? With people, not animated, is what I'm trying to say. I guess just shows would be a proper, description of them. But, yeah, let's see. I know for a while I watched Friends, and I got, as a teenager, I was kind of frustrated with the whole, will they get together, will they not get together dynamic? And eventually I just kind of got tired of it, so I stopped watching it. Funny story. One day, this was relatively recent, so usually when I wake up early in the morning, I would have, YouTube playing in the background. And usually I would have something that's easy to listen to. For example, I would listen to, weirdly enough, Creepypasta. And you would think, oh, that's going to wake me up with some nightmares, right? I'm going to dream about some nightmares. Never. I don't know why. Maybe it's the soothing, narrator's voice that makes me feel calm. But I never got a nightmare while listening to Creepypasta while I'm half asleep. Or would it be half awake? regardless, I'm in a state where if you were to say something, I'll start like dreaming about it, or I would not. You get what I mean? Like I think it's called REM sleeping or something like that. But anyway, you're probably wondering what that has to do with any of this. Well, one day I woke up pretty early. I turned on the TV and I was planning on staying awake, but I ended up falling asleep again. The thing is, when I went to sleep, I had a nightmare. And this nightmare, just to sum it up, I was getting married to this woman that was very horrible. Like a very toxic lady. If I were to describe her, let's just say that the words that I would use aren't appropriate for general audiences. Just to give everyone that kind of viewpoint. So I was being forced to marry her. I don't know why. And I was like, wow, this sucks. And then I heard a laugh track, and I'm like, what, does God think this is funny or something? And then I heard another one, and then I woke up to episode of Friends. And I was like, well, that was a fail. I mean, I'm glad I'm not dead, but that was definitely a fail on my part. I basically stated the fact earlier. I watch horror stories, creepypastas, while I'm half asleep and nothing. An episode of Friends plays, and I'm having a midlife crisis in my own dreams. What the heck? That's not the first time my own, what would be, my subconscious has screwed me over in my own dream for some reason. I have no idea why, but I would have these dreams where, even though I'm dreaming, my own brain just likes to mess with me. I don't know why, but I think I'll say this for a different video. We'll be talking about shows for this video, so I'll save that for later. Another show to go off of. So, growing up, I had basic cable, which, to me, I only watched like 3 channels. Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel. Disney Channel wasn't as watched as Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. But when I watched it, let's see, there was That's So Raven. I think at that point, Lizzie McGuire kind of just fell off, so I didn't see that show as much. A bit of Even Steven, but again, like, that's when it was kind of dying out to Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was more later down the watch list for me. Like, that's when I started to watch, like, Disney Channel less and less, because at that point, a few of the Disney, like, cartoons just, like, stopped airing that much, so I kind of just stopped watching. Cartoon-wise, I think it was Kim Possible, American Dragon Jake Long, and there's another one somewhere. I know rarely, like, Reese's would pop up. I don't think it was at my house. I think it was at a relative's house, so I'm gonna list it, but it's probably not under the cable one. Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, I think that was another show. I think so. It sounds weird because it's been a while. Lilo and Stitch, but granted with that one, I had to wait like until 6 a.m. to watch it. And again, it's not like I actively waited to watch the show. It's more because I had insomnia and I couldn't go to sleep. So, yeah. I feel like there's other shows. I feel like I'm forgetting some other shows. I can't remember on top of my head. But those are the shows I watched on Disney Channel. And then after a while, I remember one year, this is kind of going off topic, but one year we didn't have cable, so I stopped watching TV for a whole year. And after it came back, I couldn't get back into watching TV for a bit. I think those would be the shows that I've seen on Disney Channel. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. It's been a long time. And then one of my cousins, she likes Disney Channel, and I tried watching it with her, and like I'm just not too fond of the new stuff. It's like, too preppy for my liking, if that makes sense. I mean, I guess the shows I've seen, they probably would seem like that way too to my family, to my parents, but to me, it's like too preppy. I think the only show that I kind of enjoyed watching with my cousin was like Dog with a Blog, but it's because I had a talking dog. Like, You have to mess up greatly to not make a talking dog somewhat enjoyable. But I think that's all for Disney Channel. I don't remember. I know that a cousin of mine, they got Disney XD, which since I only seen them once a week, I didn't really get a chance to see much of it. But I remember seeing Gargoyles on that channel. Um, Yin Yang Yo, but very briefly. I know there's others, but I just can't remember. I think that's the first time I've seen maybe Spider-Man. I don't recall. Sorry, it's been for me, it's been a couple literal decades. Well, maybe just one decade in some years, but it's been a long time. For Nick, I've already started with Friends, because that pops up on Nick at Night. Another show was Full House, which I would say it's kind of cheesy. Saying it's kind of cheesy is an understatement. It's very cheesy. But when there's nothing else to watch, you kind of just go with whatever. Fun fact about that show: one of the actors, Bob Saget. So he is a comedian. He plays as a wholesome character on the show. So you think his comedy routines, they would be pretty wholesome, right? No, they were not. He was pretty raunchy with his routines, and to see him playing as a wholesome character, just to have him be see his actual bits, it's kind of jarring. Not saying it's bad, it's just kind of shocking. Another fun fact is that the star that played Uncle Jesse, John Stamos, my grandma, she was watching this medical show. I was checking in on her, see how everything was doing, and I just look up and I was like, is that Uncle Jesse from Full House? And she's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, huh. Well, it's good to see that he still gets work. Didn't expect him to be on a medical show. I don't know. What was it? Was it ER? Was it something like that? I don't think it was ER. I think it was something else. Don't really recall. Oh well. So let's see. After Full House, another I'm going through Nick at Night, then I'll just go through Nick. So Nick at Night, there was also Family Matters. Yeah, I used to be able to do a Steve Urkel impression. Now I can't no more. And even though, look, I could try, but right now my nose is hurting, and unfortunately I need to use my nose to make the voice. So we're not gonna hear it right now. Sorry, but no. What I wanted to bring up is that when you want to make an impression of somebody, a character, you need to use one of their phrases. For example, Steve Urkel, one of his catchphrases was, "Did I do that?" And then you keep practicing his line until you get the voice down. I mean, for Goofy, I just kept on saying, "Oh, yep." So take that for example, that being a thing he says a lot. The thing is, I can't get his yell down. And that's been driving me a little crazy, but I work on it when I can. But for now, I'm happy with my bootleg Goofy voice. Other shows now, it's been a while, so I'm sorry. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was on Nick at Night, I think. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was one of my favorite shows. I heard it got I wouldn't be called a remake, would it? Because it's supposed to be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but a more dramatic, more I think that's how they describe it, a more dramatic version of it, not really the sitcom that you got in the original. So it's huh. Okay, I will tell everyone this. Personally, I don't go watching dramas. I don't like dramas at first glance, but I do get hooked on that genre, weirdly enough. Even though I think I've said it to family members that I just don't like drama shows. It's just it pulls you in. It pulls you in sometimes, It's ooh, this is interesting. I mean, I won't actively watch it, but if it pops up and I so happen to see it, I get invested, It kind of reminds me, okay, these aren't shows, these are movies on a channel. It's Lifetime. I really get invested with Lifetime movies for some reason. Like, don't get me wrong. If you ask me if I like them, I would tell you no, I hate them. Because I'm not saying all movies end this way, but for the few that I've seen, it felt like the antagonists got away scot-free. And there were some movies where I was like, no, no, they don't deserve to walk away. They need their upcomings. They need to get their just desserts for all they put the main character through the story. They're not walking away until they get, well, I'll give you an example because it's the most relevant in my mind. Again, sorry, this is going to be a spoiler. I don't remember the name of the movie. I kind of don't remember what's going on. I just remember the premise. So this lady and her sister, they get trapped under like this pole thing because the person that she's going to marry, well, I guess ex of hers or his didn't like that. So she trapped them under the pole trying to kill them to prevent the marriage. And I'm sitting there and like, cause it's, again, the drama's getting me. Are they going to survive? The suspense, the drama, are they going to survive? Or are they going to die? Like, it got me into it. And I think the end, the person that trapped them under the pool just like got away without getting arrested. And I'm like, no, you got out of the pool. The very first thing that I'm going to, well, actually, her sister was like dying. So I understood, like, revenge later, saving your family now. But the second that I contacted the paramedics, I'm hunting the person that trapped me under that pool down. And I'm going to drown them. See how they like it. Oh, you want to put me under the pool? You want to make me go through hypothermia? Well, guess what? I can't say this word because, you know, again, this is like, for everyone. But guess what, you horrid female canine? I'm coming for you now. Like, you tried to kill me. Any signs of mercy from me is out the window. Alright? Any signs of mercy from me is out the window. The second that you either try to kill me, or the second that you try to kill somebody I love. And since this person did both in this scenario, I'm sorry to say, but peace was an option at one point, but now it's not. The only thing you have left is violence. Horrific violence. I mean, look, I don't remember exactly all the details with the movie. Maybe the lady, the antagonist, maybe she had a good reason to go. Look. I just remember her having beef with the lady because she was marrying the person she loved. And honestly, that's not cool. Alright? That is not cool. I remember, look, me and a friend's mom, she was driving me to their place because my friend lives far away, and we talked about Lifetime movies, and there was this one movie that I was discussing with her that I did not like because I forgot the name of the movie, but this basically, how did it go? Okay, so this teen, she's setting up this guy to, like, basically ruin his life because from her perspective, he's the one that made her mom commit suicide. Now, the context with this is that he and this lady were having relations until one day he found out that she wasn't single, she was married with child, and then he dipped. I think it might have been either A, he didn't like the idea of him cheating with someone, or B, maybe he just wasn't ready for I don't remember why. I just remember that he dipped after finding out that she was married and had a child. Well, anyway, that drove the lady to commit suicide, and the girl, she thought that revenge would be the best choice of action towards the dude. I know I gave some description of the movie already, but do you want to hear a spoiler of how things end? In just one simple line. Cool motive, still murder sums it up pretty well, because this kid, this teenager, when she's ruining his life, she ended up killing his wife. With a knife. And I know that rhymed, I was doing a bit, I'm sorry, but yeah, basically I think, if I recall correctly, she kills his wife, and I think tries to frame him for the murder. And it's like, okay, I get that your mother killed herself because of this guy, but you've taken this innocent person's life. What the heck is wrong with you? What the heck is wrong with you? I mean, if you were gonna aim at anybody, why not aim at the guy? Yeah, I'm not saying murder's okay, but I'd be more forgiving if you just ruined the dude's life, not the lady's. Like, you took her life. What the heck's wrong with you? And the worst part is, she got away with it. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, at first I was like, wait, who's the protagonist? The dude or the teenager? And then the movie came around, I was like, oh yeah, she was the protagonist. I'm supposed to root for you because, like, you killed someone, though. She didn't deserve it. You killed someone innocent. What the heck's wrong with you? Like, what the heck is, like, she didn't do anything. So, yeah, we were talking about it, going over it, and then I remembered another Lifetime movie. I'm sorry, I know I said that we were talking about shows, I defaulted back to movies, but to be honest, this movie, again, the actions of the characters I could not sympathize with because of who they were hurting. Again, I don't remember the name of the movie, but basically this one lady, she's taking her daughter to this one area, but her daughter gets kidnapped, all like Liam Neeson. And just to sum it up, the person that kidnapped her was apparently this lady's half-sister. And she wanted revenge because her father basically chose this lady over her family, which I think this person was the first child, so go off, I guess. But the revenge that she chose was to kidnap this lady's daughter. And it's like, why did you drag this poor kid into it? This kid done nothing to you, lady. Like, what the heck? If you want revenge on your half-sister, why didn't you just go out? I mean, I guess, yeah, you want her to feel pain, like, quote-unquote, you felt. But still, it's like, you're putting an innocent kid... You're putting an innocent kid in danger. Like, you have to look at the actions that you're doing and say, hey, maybe I should just let it go because innocent people are going to get hurt. Like, that's my thing. Like, I didn't like these movies because antagonists, I actually don't remember how the niece kidnapping one ended. I kind of just called what was going on and left the room. And when I called it, I was like, yeah, I saw it. Watch. She's going to walk away scot-free. Nothing bad's going to happen. And everything's going to be hunky-dory or whatever. So I just left the room. Again, granted, I don't know how the movie ends. I just figured that, hey, it's going to end like the other ones where the bad guy doesn't get, any repercussions. So, yeah, no, I'm kind of tired of seeing that. Again, the drama gets me to be invested in the movie, but how it ends usually just ruins a movie for me. It's like, I don't want to see the person that was antagonizing the main character just walk away without getting any, like I said, any trouble. It's like, what the heck? Then I realized that I'm supposed to be talking about shows, not movies, but I just wanted to share that with you. But if I were to think, Lifetime was also another channel that I'm going to be honest, I barely watched Lifetime. The only reason why I would ever watch Lifetime was because there's this one show called Unsolved Mysteries. Now, I loved that show. Specifically, the segments that were more around, like, ghosts, cryptids, or UFOs. Like, that part really got me, like, into the show. I mean, as I got older, I was more interested in the murders, but I was more interested in the unexplainable, like, the paranormal segment. So, yeah, that's why I like that show. Let's see, the last channel I was talking about was, well, not Lifetime, but Nick at Night. I got distracted by there was another show. It was a rom-com. I think that's the genre of it. Rom-com, The Nanny. But I will be honest, I kind of got suckered into that show. Like, I don't know why, but I liked it. Weirdly enough, like, I don't think I was the demographic audience that they were thinking of, but yeah, for some reason, kid me liked it. I mean, even if I see it today, I'll still give it a watch because, I don't know, it's just a charming show. Now going to Nick, because I did say that mainly I did watch cartoons as a kid. Nick, I'd say, well, SpongeBob SquarePants, obviously, that's a no-brainer. it's kind of sad though that they end up making more spin-offs for SpongeBob because, like, the creator of the show, he said he didn't want them, and I swear, as soon as he passed away, may he rest in peace, they decided to make spin-offs. I just think that's a little disrespectful, but they technically, I think Nickelodeon is in charge of the property, so it's like you can't really do anything. I would imagine. Sucks, but oh well. Let's see. Okay, after SpongeBob, because I wanted to get rid of the easiest one on the list first, so I could focus on the others. There was Rugrats, which was, I don't know how often it played, but I remember seeing it as a kid. Avatar: The Last Air. I mean, I think if I didn't mention Avatar: The Last Airbender, people would probably have some mean things to say about me. So, gotta put that down. I think Fairly Odd Parents would be like a no-brainer one as well. Like that was a well-known show, and Jimmy Neutron too. I remember there was like premieres for a Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, and I was like, this was before crossovers were like a huge thing. So to see the actual it was something new for me. So I kept myself hyped for it, waited for it, and then I watched it. It was like I remember those days where like these movies of shows would come on TV. It would be like an actual little event for me. For like Fairly Odd Parents, look, man, I feel like it just went down the drain. Like, okay, there's a certain point where I just stopped caring for the show, and I guess it's because I also got older too. But I would say that I kind of feel bad for the show because it got like this live action like version of it or something like that. I don't know. I was like, please let the show die. It's like there were many places you could have ended the show already, but are we really gonna end it on a live action note? I mean, I'm not talking about the movie because there was, now that I think about a few live action movies. I'm not talking about the movies. I'm talking about like the show. I don't remember the name of the show, but it's basically a live action Fairly Odd Parents. But the weird thing is, like Cosmo and Wanda, I don't think I don't think they were casted live action. I think they were like very badly animated. Not to not to insult the creativity behind it, but you could see how it's like very stiff looking with the animation. So it's like, it don't look too good. If I were to describe it, it'd be like old Flash animations. Not saying they aren't. I'm not saying that Flash animation is inherently bad. I'm saying that you need to have some care with it, otherwise it looks kind of lazy. I'm sorry, to me it looks kind of lazy from what I've seen. Man, I just realized that there's a lot of shows for Nickelodeon. It's been quite a while. I mean, I remember seeing Ren and Stimpy as a kid and wanting to watch it, but not having that much chance to watch it. But as I got older, I wasn't real a big fan on the whole gross out cartoon. So yeah, it was like something I liked as a kid, but not as an adult. Let's see other shows. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember on top of my head. The Thornberries? Yeah, I kind of remember it. I didn't see it as often as other shows, but I remember. I think Nigel Thornberry was added to like Nickelodeon Brawl, so that was kind of cool. Oh, wait a minute. I could just go and do the lineup. I mean, I haven't played the game much, but they have been shows I've seen, so that could help me out. So, huh. At this point, I feel like I'm just listing off shows and not really sharing much experience with it. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing that because it's kind of like, well, yeah, cool, you've seen it. Any thoughts on it? No, you just seen it. It's kind of a lazy way to have a conversation going, don't you think? Yeah, good point. I guess I'm just trying to I'm putting too much effort on remembering what I used to watch and not bringing up any good things to talk about, really. So let's see. I'll talk about my favorite Nickelodeon show, and then we'll work on what I haven't discussed yet. I mean, we still have to hit up Cartoon Network. Now, Cartoon Network was my bread and butter as a kid because that was the channel I watched all the time. I think it was probably like out of the 3 channels I listed off earlier, I think even combining Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, they come to a fraction of how much I've watched Cartoon Network. Not that the channels were bad or anything. I think it's because with Disney, the shows I like just stopped airing. For Nick, there's actually a couple reasons why I switched over to Cartoon Network. And so imagine this: you get home from school, you had a hard day, you just want to relax and watch Nickelodeon. You want to watch like SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents, right? And then you get hit with Nickelodeon Day of Play. Get outside and like go play. And I'm like, I just got home. I just got home from back then it was hard. Now I would say it's relatively easy, but you get what I mean. A day of school, I just want to go home and relax. I don't want to go outside. Like, I want to just chill for a while, okay? So when that happened, I just went to Cartoon Network. And then there was this other segment that, oh my god, it angered me. It kind of angered me. Because, again, it's with the whole, hey, I just want to watch my show. I want to chill out. I want to relax before I start doing homework, before I start doing any chores. It'd be nice if I'm not interrupted. Because, yeah, you know, there was this one thing called Nick Studio 10. And it didn't have its own, well, I don't think it had its own time slot. Instead, you know what it decided to do? It decided to interrupt shows in the middle of the shows. And by the time it was over with, the show would be, over. Like, you miss, it's like getting a sandwich with only bread and maybe a little bit of cheese and none of the meat. Thanks. I think what really annoyed me with this is that it would happen periodically. Like, I can't recall it. Like, I don't think it stopped at just one show. Like, if you were to watch the next show, it would interrupt that show. And it was like, thank you. That's what I really want. I really want to see the same bit over and over again. Like, that's what drove me crazy. Because I think it was the same bit over and over again. It's like, please stop. So eventually I got a little frustrated with it. And I just switched over to Cartoon Network. Now, like I said, Cartoon Network's my favorite, but it's not squeaky clean. If I could say that one stain that I remember was when they decided to do their live action phase. I did not like, well, I was about to say I didn't like any of the live action shows that they tried to put out, but I'll take that back. I can only think of like 2 shows that I liked. One was this haunted show, like it was it's like a Ghost Hunters-esque show or something like that, but it kind of got canned, like it stopped showing after a while. And then there was like Destroy, Build, Destroy, which I thought was pretty cool. The only thing about it was, for some reason, like with the previous complaint, it only like reran like 2 or 3 episodes, and I never got a new one. It was like, so I knew what was going to happen. It kind of take the joy out of it. So it's like, But it's destroying stuff, so that's pretty cool. The other shows, I didn't care for. I don't remember what this show was. It was like something to do with fitting through a hole. I don't remember the name, but it was like a game show where, as the name suggests, the contestants have to fit through a hole to win. It's something like that. I could be wrong. Gotta be embarrassing if I was remembering something entirely different. But no, I didn't care too much for it. It was boring to me. They also introduced like Mad Comics as a little show, which I thought was pretty cool because I never seen Mad Comics before. I didn't know what it was, and then I looked into it. It's like, oh my god, that's actually kind of funny. And there's a lot of good bits that I liked, except with the remember how I said with Ren and Stimpy I didn't like the gross out humor? Yeah, this goes to the Mad series as well. I did not care for any gross out like um bits. I'll leave it at that. But there's this other show. Originally, it was a movie, but the movie was, I would say, I wasn't too like I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. It was like there. But then the show came out. Out of Jimmy's head, it was like I didn't care too much for the movie. The show itself, I just didn't like because the characters to me, as a kid, teenager, preteen, you pick whatever the latter. I don't recall at the moment, but basically, I just didn't like any of the characters. Like they were all, in my eyes, jerks. None of them was that likable. That's actually kind of funny now that I think about it, because I think my least favorite episodes in any show or cartoon would be where all the characters are being like, for some reason, like just being mean spirited to the main character, like out of the blue for no reason. So it's like, yeah, I think I know what episode to avoid then. Kind of a weird trope to have, too. Like, huh. You need all your characters acting like jerks for this one episode for insert reason here. But then again, I mean, what's the weirdest trope you've seen or heard of? I wouldn't say the trope I just described was the weirdest. Just my least favorite. So let's see. I mean, I guess since you see it all the time, it doesn't seem as weird. That might be a little. That might be a little hard to discuss or even think about. Oh, okay. You know how there's always this trope where in the show, if there's like a story about talking about ancestors, all the main characters in the show look exactly like their ancestors. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, they're family, but I'm saying like they're exact replicas of the character model or the person. It's like technically maybe only one character should look like the ancestor and not all, because that kind of raises a few flags if you get what I mean. And before I forget, here's this video's phobia. I don't know why I'm still looking at these because honestly, it's whatever. But can you guess what it is? I am not pronouncing it. It's a fear of cartoon characters. This actually had some explanation to it. See, it's usually from a nightmare about said cartoon character, usually chasing a kid or something, and usually it's fixed when the parent explains to them that the character is not real and they can't hurt them. So it's like, usually a lot of the phobias I looked up, it just tells me that the cause of the trauma is unknown, but this one gave me like gave me the known cause of it, so that's kind of cool. Funny enough, I do have. Well, I guess it wouldn't be exactly the same, but I do have a story that's sort of like that. When I was really like, I say 5 years old, maybe, I finally saw Pokemon. Then I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I really liked it. The thing is, see, you know that trope where the monster on the chair is just a pile of clothes, and it's nothing to be afraid of? I know there's a word for it. It's just, when I tried looking it up, the most relevant result I got was like shadow people, which is something I'm not looking up. But anyway, little kid me had like a pile of clothes on a chair across my bed. And since I just saw Pokemon, well, you probably think, oh, I saw Pikachu, right? No, I saw Charmander. Only this Charmander was gigantic. Like, really gigantic. Almost scary gigantic, and it freaked me out because in the dark, whoops. Because in the dark, well, do I really have to explain why the heck it freaked me out? It's a giant Charmander. And the worst part was, because of the darkness, it looked like it was like grinning at me with sharp teeth. Oh my god, it was a nightmare and a half that night. It's kind of funny now because now that I think about it, my favorite starter Pokemon would be Charmander. So it's kind of funny that at one point I was terrified of a giant one. I mean, how would you react? You see a giant version of a cartoon character like in the corner of your room like that. That is kind of freaky. Let's just thank God it wasn't like a Mr. Mime or something. That would, oh boy. I was playing this one game of Pokemon Infinite Fusion, and the gimmick with this game is that you could fuse Pokemon together and make a brand new one. Well, there was this one fusion with Mr. Mime and a Pinsir. It's horrifying. And you know what? In fact, I'm gonna go and get the image right now. Hold on. Look at it. Look at it. It's horrifying. Like, what the heck is that? Well, apparently it's a Mr. Sir. And I never want to cross any of those in a dark alleyway. Horrifying. And if you're wondering what my Pokemon was, well, that was me basically fusing a Charmander with a Charmander. I think that was like the final evolution for it. Anybody else getting like Bakugan like vibes from that like design? Like it looks like the main guy from the show. Like I don't remember the name, but it kind of gives us Bakugan vibes, don't you think? Maybe I'll do a playthrough of Pokemon Fusion. Maybe. Huh. I mean, I beat the game once. I beat again on normal. I guess I could go for hard. I'm trying to earn the cheat mode for the game, but unfortunately, I'm getting stuck on finding like the Pokemon, so it's taking me quite a bit. I mean, people said like you could go through a third party to activate cheats, but I don't want to do that. I mean, if there's a way that I can activate the cheats within the game, I'm going to go for that option. Like, I don't trust a third party, like things for cheats. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to deal with a virus. Thanks. Have a great day. Thinking about it, I might have seen. I think I might have seen most of the card-based games in their anime form. I would think. I mean, I've seen Pokemon. I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Bakugan. I mean, I would think that's also like card. I mean, I know it's a toy, but I think they also have cards with it too. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I think there was also this one show called Chaotix, but I'm not sure if that was ever a game. But it has that kind of vibe going with it. Like it's supposed to be like a part of a card game or something. I mean, it's been a long time. I don't even think that's the name of the right name, but it's like I think it was. Am I missing anything else? I would laugh. I would laugh really hard if they did have like a Magic the Gathering show somewhere and I completely missed it. It'd be like, yeah, you kind of missed this one. The most well-known card game there is, right? Oh, how embarrassing. But like for Pokemon, I think I've. Oh wait, no, I forgot about Digimon. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it with my cousin a couple times. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I've seen every card game turn into an anime adaptation. At least the ones that are coming to the my head at the moment. Let's see. What was I gonna say about Pokemon? I would say that Pokemon, out of all the other shows, was one that I stick to the longest. Second, I would say Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, I'm trying to think. Definitely not Digimon, because for me, Digimon like rarely came on, or when I had the chance to watch it, me and my cousin were always together playing games, so it's like we didn't really watch the show or binge watch it or anything like that. Um, I would say Bakugan would be like the third one, and fourth be Digimon or something like that. I mean, no, yes, Chaotix. If that's a card game, I don't know. I don't even think that's the right name. So the premise with Chaotix, if I recall, is that these guys, it's like a virtual reality where they fight with their monsters or something like that. They get these card things that would take them to exotic places. I think. Man, I probably sound like a big idiot, but why did pause like that? Hey, not liking that, but whatever. But basically, it was kind of like that. Maybe I could be wrong. Oh no, I hate it when I don't remember. It makes me feel dumb. But basically, that was it. Main character had like black hair. Best friend was a like redhead. I remember me and my cousin watched it once, and there was this episode that kind of annoyed us because out of nowhere, his quote unquote best friend just turned on him. And again, going with like my least favorite type of episode is when like, well, I guess that's not the trope because everybody would be in on it. I guess it was more of him just being a jerk. But the next episode was revealed that it was all a scheme to stop like some. I don't remember. But it wasn't like a real fight. I just remember me and my cousin were like, wow, what? Why would he do that to his like best friend? That's not cool. Something along those lines. I don't know. We're almost done with the roof. That's nice. Wonder if we'll actually finish because I said that at the beginning. Like I'm not sure if we'll finish, but I think we might actually finish. There's this other show. I guess it kind of gave off like Pokemon vibes or Digimon vibes, whatever you want to look at it. But it was called Give me a second. Zatch Bell, yeah. So there was these guys that are Mamotos. I think that's what they were called, and they had these books where they had like powers. It was basically like Pokemon, Digimon, whatever you want to call it, like whatever helps give you the picture. But basically, there's a tournament where all of them are fighting, so they could be kings of some, rule it. I might sound like a complete idiot. I am so sorry for all the fans out there, but basically, if the book gets destroyed, the Mamoto dies. So it's like a Nuzlocke for Pokemon. And I've watched it for a good while because I think did it pop up on Toonami? It had to be. I can only think of two, like, well, there was Toonami, and there was this other one, I think it was called Jacuzzi. Why did I do that? I hope that's the name, because if I'm wrong, well, I'm probably right. That does sound pretty familiar, but basically that's where I kind of got into anime, was through Toonami, definitely. And I think with Jacuzzi, it showed this one show called Kolyoko. So, yeah, I'm thinking it's either one of those two. I'm aiming more for Toonami, because that feels like the most likely candidate. I know Toonami is where my cousin picked up Naruto, because every time I would visit him, it'd always be Saturday, so that's what we end up watching at the end of the day. I'm trying to think of the other anime that I've seen, but nothing's really... Bobobo? There was only like a few episodes that really popped up, at least from my memory. That was a fever dream of an anime, if I recall correctly. Speaking of fever dreams, I know that I'm going back and forth, but there's this one show on Adult Swim which, unfortunately, Kid Me watched because insomnia and no one else was awake at the time to stop me. But there was this one show called Xavier Renegade Angel. Oh my god, it was a fever dream. Kid Me was disturbed by it. Me now, when I look at the scenes I can find on YouTube, I kind of like the show. I mean, yeah, it's a bit weird, but has this weird philosophical feel to it. If that makes sense. Also, it kind of reminds me of internet humor. I don't know why. Just feels like it. Now, through some unfortunate scares, I've learned the hard way that Adult Swim around 4 a.m. gets a lot more scary. And they have said that before that. At 4 a.m. They just like show stuff that scares kids as a way to punish them for staying up late watching the show, which I will give them this. Punishment received, punishment avoided. In a way, I guess you did win, but I still watched the block when it came on. So it wasn't enough to deter me from that, just deter me to stay away at 4 a.m. I do remember that there were a few bumpers that just. There was this one show called The Heart She Hollered. I don't know what it was about because, well, okay, granted, I don't think I was a little kid anymore when it came out. I think I was like maybe a teenager, maybe a preteen at the youngest. But no, I did not like horror. I would say this is a little before my horror phase came and I was used to it, but no, I just did not like this bumper because it had this like witch lady screaming with blood in her, like covered her face. It was like scary to me, so yeah. Not a fun time back then. Again, it didn't stop me from watching the block though. I kept watching it. I remember that one of the first shows I seen on Adult Swim, I think it was, not sure what it was. Again, it's been a long time, but I would think it's either Futurama. I would say it's either Futurama or it be King of the Hill. One or the other. And I say we're actually done with the roof. I just need to touch it up a bit. Huh. Nice to see that we're finally done. Not too sure how I feel about these wooden things yet. I don't know. Maybe I should remove them? Huh. I mean, it's been a lot of work, but I don't think I need these. Should I keep them? But forget it. I'll think about it a little more, but yeah. Hmm. Not, not too sure. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks alright. It's just, I'm not sure if I'm loving the interior. Outside looks great. I'd say the outside looks amazing. It's just the interior that's kind of bothering me. Just a little bit. Hmm. Well, let's see. I talked about the first thing I've seen on Adult Swim. I don't want to drone on and on about like shows I've seen because again, like I said earlier, it doesn't really make much of a conversation. It just like opens up that hey, I've seen this show before. Oh wait, I brought up King of the Hill for a reason. Not only just because it was the probably the first thing I seen on Adult Swim, but also because fun fact in Japan they have this little debate between the fan dub and the fan sub of the show on which is better. Kind of how anime fans over here would make the same argument on which is better, the fan dub or the fan sub. Personally, for me, I would say it has to be on what I'm introduced to first. If I'm introduced to the sub first, I'm gonna like the sub version. If I'm introduced to the dub first, I'm gonna like the dub version. So it's preference on what I'm introduced to first, really. For example, okay, this might sound a little weird, but then again, everything out of my Math kind of sounds a bit weird, but stay with me on this. So, Parappa the Rappa is a PlayStation video game, a kind of a old school video game, a rhythm game. Well, apparently to promote the sequel of the game, he got anime. And I've managed to find it on YouTube, but the thing is, I found like a sub version. I only think there's only an official sub version. I'm not sure there's an official dub version, but the point is, I found a sub version of it and I watched a bit of it, but then I saw that there was like a dub version. I'm not sure if this dub version is made by fans or if it's an official thing, but regardless, I seen both and I prefer the sub. If we want to reverse of this, I seen Dragon Ball Z in like English first, and then I saw it subbed, and I'm like, I kind of prefer the English version, mainly because it was one that came to me first. Fun fact: one of the voice actors for Goku also voiced Rolf from Ed, Ed and Eddie. Just a little interesting fact. I mean, there's certain voice actors that are everywhere, and you'll be shocked what they play as. Like for example, Tom Kenny, better known as the voice actor of SpongeBob, he's also played Ice King from Adventure Time, the Mayor from Powerpuff Girls, and weirdly enough, I believe he was the Penguin from one of the Batman. I think it was one of the movies. The reason why I know is Tom Kenny because the Penguin kind of sounds very close to Ice King. That's why I clued in on who it was, but it's so... Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the timing was kind of perfect, but I don't want these guys putting their 2 cents into our conversation. Go away. Back off. Why are all of you guys just... Whatever, never mind. I don't care. I don't want to know. Another voice actor that might be a little shocking. So, Jake from Adventure Time, his voice actor is also the voice actor of Bender from Futurama. And in the show, they made a little, like, reference to that, so, can't share it here exactly, but it was a funny little gag. Thinking about that now, I'm kind of remembering this one little gag that you see in cartoons where one character would imitate another character's voice, and as a kid, I thought that was impressive, but as an adult, I'm like, I know that they're just switching with the voice actors. I mean, it's a funny gag, but when you realize how it works, it's not that impressive. Unless that's the voice actor mimicking their coworkers and putting an impression on them. That would be pretty impressive. We're pretty close to the end. I didn't really get to talk much about Cartoon Network, even though I was saying that's my favorite. I mean, at that point, I realized that just listing off the cartoons, it's not, again, not very much for conversation. If I wanted to make a list video, I'd just do a list video. Yeah, exactly. But, hey, if I did mention a show that you liked as a kid, leave it in the comments, and if I didn't, just tell me what your favorite show was, and hopefully I probably have seen it, or maybe I've heard of it. Unless it was, like, region blocked or something, then most likely I wouldn't know what you're mentioning. But on the bright side of things, we actually finished the roof in this episode. I know I said it at the beginning, but I wasn't sure if we were, but it's nice to see that we got it complete. I mean, still not too sure about the interior just yet. I know we're going to add more to the house, but at least at this part, we have the roof done. So that's, a nice little accomplishment. I don't know. Something just feels a little off with it, though. Well, I'll think about what I want to do with the roof, and that will be in the next videos. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care, and please like and subscribe.